is your girl Jodi with Whispers ASMR, and tonight I want to welcome all of you back to my channel, or to my channel. I also want to say thank you for all of the feedback I got on the 3000 video. That was so nice to hear and to read. It just makes all of the hours kind of sitting by myself in the dark just a little bit more worth it, you know what I mean? Like, I feel so much more close to you guys when I can converse with you and you comment, and I love when you subscribe. And if you haven't, please do. Please, it helps the channel out. And I'd love for this to grow. I'm not looking to be a billionaire or millionaire, whatever. You know, I'm not looking to be a YouTube phenomenon, but I would love to just spread the storytelling in a whisper, which I love, and it's so tingly, 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 tingly to the world. And I think I'm getting better at it. I'm trying. I really do work at it quite a bit. So, if you have not subscribed already, please feel free to do so and hit that little bell in the right hand corner of your screen. And if you like this kind of whispered content, scary, spooky, off the wall, kind of crazy content, then please give it a thumbs up. It does so much for the channel. And if you're really feeling wild and crazy, leave a comment. I love comments, requests, just a good chat. I love you all. I'm more than appreciative of every single one of you that comes to my channel week after week, and I promise I am working to put out more than one video a week. I know I've been kind of crazy busy, but I'm still keeping up with that one a week, so hopefully I'm gonna go to back to do a week. And then of course the shorts that I don't know if you have seen or not, but I started to really get into bow hunting and not killing animals, but just, you know, imitation animals that are 3D. It's so much fun and so challenging, and you're in the forest and you're going over the creeks and through the trees, and it's really, really neat, really neat. So tonight, instead of doing something true, we are going to be doing creepypastas. I mean, horrifying creepypastas. Some of the creepiest I have come across in a very long time. Very long time. So, hold on to your hats. Hold on to your britches, and let's get this show on the road, as they say, right? Now, I have found these all across the internet, and looking everywhere. So, hopefully you will find these new and exciting, and that, you know, a little, I don't know, not so serious, so you can sit back and relax and not have to worry about focusing, and just relax. Number one. yourself peacefully walking down a dirt path. You got your headphones on or earbuds in and you're listening to your favorite song. By the way, this is much better with earphones or earbuds in. FYI, I always forget to say that, but there's the plug. So you're snapping your fingers, you're bobbing your head to the music, left and right. You're kind of giving a step to the left and a step to the right, and all of a sudden you feel a strange heaviness take over that amazing euphoric calm that you just felt a moment ago, dancing like a free spirit of the night. It is now 11 o'clock in the evening. You feel oddly like, when you stop and thought about it, that you are being watched. But why? Why is this feeling about being watched creeping around in your brain? Oh, you're just being silly. That's all it is. You're being ridiculous. You're overreacting. You've watched one too many ID shows or listened to one too many true crime broadcasts, so you chalk it up to nothing. Your own paranoia. So you go on with your business. You put your earbuds back in your ear and you're bopping along. But your earbuds are a little bit lower and your senses are heightened. But that's when you hear this. The bushes are rustling. You're not a coward type. Nope. You're not gonna run away from any situation or go scream for help. Come on. But you also, you don't want to mess with a demon or some other strange monster hiding in the bushes. A monster that might even be human. Alright, you're gonna turn your music off, right? Yeah, that's a great idea. You're gonna creep slowly towards the bush. Now you're ready to get out of there. If you had to, you kind of, got your one leg out and your other leg ready to run. Your one arm out in front of you and the other ready to take off. Kind of like the opposite of a person who's getting ready to do the 400 in a track race, right? You grow closer and closer and closer to whatever it is that is making that noise. You're getting closer to that bush. It's probably just a freaking rabbit. But the closer you get, it sounds like crying. An odd cry, like a baby puppy, like a little puppy or a baby rabbit or something a little and tiny that is not necessarily a human baby cry, but definitely an animal cry. You get closer to the bush and hesitantly peek inside. You see a snow white rabbit with red glowing eyes. He's caught in a bear trap. Holy shit, what do you do? A bear trap? What? eyes feeling? You get closer and closer. To the little tiny, 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 tiny rabbit. Hearing its cry, it's overwhelming. It's so sad. But then you remember you didn't remember hearing any cry when you felt somebody watching you. Your mind pauses. You don't like hearing the rabbits cry at all. Nor do you like the fact there was a bear trap in a bush. What are you thinking? What's going on here? You're kind of putting this all together. Yeah, I live in the woods. I get that, everybody. I live in the woods, but a bear trap and a baby bunny that's stuck in a bear trap. But I never heard the cry before, and it felt like somebody's watching me. What the hell is going on? This is not normal. You bend down quietly as you can. You push the bush aside, listening to the crackling, crackling, crackling of its branches. You pull hard to set the rabbit free, but it doesn't move. It's eerily quiet. Maybe it's dead. Shit, you're too late. Oh well, there's nothing you can do about it. You get up, you start heading back up that same dirt path. Back to your small cottage in the woods. It takes you about 5 minutes to get back. You step onto the small patio. You feel a small breeze pass you by. The relaxing, calm, inviting aura of your house running through your head as you haul out your silver key to unlock your door. Just as you put the key in the hole, you hear it. It's a low rumble of sorts. You hear a demon voice, a demonic laugh. Just then you're hit in the head, and lights out for you. Number two. Yeah, I'm a total Sonic the Hedgehog fan. I guess you would say, like everybody else nowadays, I like the newer games, but I don't mind playing the classics. I don't think I've ever played glitchy or, hacked games before, though. I don't think I want to play any after the experience I just had. Like always, it starts on a summer afternoon. A nice one, of course. The wind's blowing. The trees are shaking in the wind, making that beautiful sound as they do as the beautiful iridescent sun is heading down deep into the west. Yeah, it was that kind of afternoon. I was playing Sonic Unleashed. Some people ask why I like it. Well, I like it because I get to explore the towns in it until I noticed out of my know, sometimes this is usual. But the way I was playing, it was not. He just left. I paused my game to see what I got in the mail. I looked at my watch. 4:45. This is way past the time the mail was supposed to come. Now I knew something was wrong. The only thing in the mailbox was a CD case for a computer and a note. Instead of leaving it where it was. Yeah, dumbass me took it inside. I know, I get it. Leave it alone, right? But I can't. That's just not my personality. I look at the note first and realize it was from my dear friend, Kyle. Well, I had not heard from him in two weeks. How do I know this? Because I recognize his handwriting. We were good friends. But, you know, what was weird was how it looked. It looked badly written and scratchy. Somewhat difficult to read, and that was not like my friend Kyle. He had meticulous handwriting. It was almost as if he was somewhere in distress or hurt. He was having a hard time writing something or writing it down, like something was keeping him from doing it. Or he was doing it in a hurry. But enough of Kyle's writing. This is what it said. I can't take it anymore. I had to get rid of this thing somehow before it was too late. I was hoping you'd do it for me. I can't do it. He's after me. A long, squiggly line followed. If you don't destroy this CD, he's gonna come after you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I'm doing this to you, but you're the only one I know who could possibly defeat him. Please listen to me. He's too fast for me. Please, Tom. Please destroy this godforsaken disc before he comes after you too. It's too late for me. Destroy the disc, and you'll destroy him. But do it quick. Otherwise, he'll catch you. Don't even play the game. It's what he wants. Destroy it. Please, Kyle. I paused, not believing what I was reading. This has got to be a joke. I say out loud, that certainly was weird. I mean, Kyle is my best friend, and I have not seen him in 2 weeks. I haven't even heard from him. I thought he was on vacation with his family or something had come up. I mean, yes, it's weird that I didn't talk to him, but it didn't seem like anything life-threatening. I should hang my head in shame now, because, as you can probably guess, I didn't do what he asked. ordinary disc. Computers, CD, or, those discs. Well, except it had a black marker on it written Sonic.exe. I don't know, it was much unlike Kyle's handwriting. All bold letters. Very big, clean, neat, but all bold, capital letters. I don't know. He must have gotten this from somebody else. A pawn shop, eBay, Amazon, the dark net, I don't know. But when I saw Sonic on the writing of the CD, I got excited. I wanted to play it. Since I am a huge Sonic fan, and right then and there, I figured this was all just a fun game that Kyle had manufactured to make it all more interesting and surreal, and like I was actually part of it. I go up to my room and I turn on my computer. I put the disc in, install the game. When the title screen popped up, I noticed that it was the first Sonic game ever made. Awesome! I squealed. I love the classics. I love them. And Kyle knew it. I rubbed my hands together in excitement. Kyle knew that this would be up my alley. He knew that I would find much more excitement if there was some backstory to it. And when I would win the game and conquer Sonic, I would feel that much more accomplished. Oh, I was so excited I could hardly stop shaking. But there was something, well, really looking back, if I'm honest, there was something I noticed that was out of place when I pressed my finger on the start key. Just a split second, a tenth of a second, I saw the title image turn into something much, much different. Something that I am now fully aware is of sinister, horrific origin. And then it cut to black. I remember what that image looked like in that split second before the game cut to black. The sky darkened, the title emblem was rusted and ruined. The Sega 1991 was now instead Sega 666. Water turned red like blood, thick. I could almost smell it. It was so hyper-realistic. Now if you think about it, back in 1991, nothing was hyper-realistic, so this is my second big indication that this isn't the original Sonic game. EXE. The freakiest moment in the split second frame was Sonic itself. was thinking about what Kyle had written and how it was written and what the hell is going on. His smile had stretched wider up to the edge of his eyes. That big, thick smile of a psychopath. Disturbed about the image when I saw it, my logical mind kicked in and I thought, well, it was just a glitch, part of Kyle's cool game that he was turning real for me, making it seem so much more mysterious, right? Oh God, I was so wrong. I was so wrong. If I could just go back to this moment in time. The moment it cut to black, it stayed like that for approximately 10 seconds. That's when I don't even know, fourth or fifth weird thing happened. You know, the save file select from Sonic the Hedgehog 3 popped up. And I was like, what the fuck? This isn't Sonic 3. This is the first Sonic game. Then I noticed something off. Another off. The background was the dark, cloudy sky of the bad Stardust Speedway level from Sonic CD. And there were only three saved live files. And the music that was emanating from my speakers, the creepy caverns of winter music from the earth bound. Only it was extended and seemed to be playing in reverse. The image for the save file where you see a preview of the level you're on is just red static for all three files. What in the hell did Kyle get me into? Now I'm scared. I am definitely scared. I do not think, well, I'm starting to not think that this is a joke. Because the next thing that happened was so creepy. When I went to select character, it showed only Tails, Knuckles, and to my surprise, Dr. Robotnik. Now, I was sure that something was up now. I mean, how can you play as Robotnik in a classic Sonic game, for crying out loud? But here's, I guess, when everything became real. This wasn't a glitchy game. It was a hacked game. Definitely looked hacked. Super creepy. As a smart gamer, I was not scared, or at least I tried not to be. I told myself that it was just a hack game. And hacked games are just created by people, other gamers, other computer enthusiasts. I could beat this. So I told myself. I just shook my head, shaking off all the creepy feelings that I was getting. There's nothing wrong with a hack game. I can deal with that. So, those 5 seconds, I swear to God, I heard a creepy, pixelated laugh. Sounded so menacing and sinister, just awful. Like, I don't even know, the gay fuck guy from the Final Fantasy before cutting to black. I kept reminding myself that it's just a hacked game. It's supposed to be scary. It's supposed to be creepy. This time, the screen stayed black for more than 10 seconds. Then what appeared on it showed the typical level title thing, except the simplistic shapes were different shades of red, and the text showed only, quote, in big capital letters, Hill Act 1, unquote. The screen faded in, the level title vanished, revealing Tails in the green hill zone from Sonic 1. The music was different. It was peaceful, a melody in which, again, was in reverse. Fuck it. I started playing anyway. I had Tails running like you would in any other of the classic Sonic games. But what was odd, Tails was running along the level. There was nothing but flat ground and a few trees for an entire 5 minutes. What the hell is going on? That's when the peaceful melody started to slow down, to twist and change into a slow, deep tone that was so slow and creepy as I kept pushing on. Took a breath. I suddenly saw something. I stopped to see what it was. One of the small animals lying dead on the ground, bleeding. This is when the music really slows down. Tails had a shocked and sad look on his face that I never saw him have before. I had him move along. He kept that worried look upon his face. I recalled earlier the bunny in the trap. He kept moving. I saw more and more dead animals. Tails moved past them, looking dreadfully more worried. The music lowers. It's now almost a dirge. So sad, so slow, as he moves past even more dead little creatures. Shocked to see how they all had died. The only way I can explain it rationally was it looked like somebody killed them in a gruesome, horrible, torturous way. The little squirrel was hanged on a tree with what appeared to be his entrails hanging out. A little bunny had all 4 of his limbs torn off and looked like he had tried to escape with his life before being gutted. And then the duck. I don't know why, but this disturbed me the most. His eyes gouged out, his throat slit, as I could see the trail of thick red liquid where he was trying to bite for his life. so did Tails. A few more seconds, there were no more animals. No more animals. The music seemed to have also stopped. I still kept Tails moving along. After a minute passed, the music completely turned off. Tails was running uphill and then he stopped. Was not until I saw why. Sonic was there on the other side of the screen with his back against Tails, with his eyes completely closed. Tails looked happy to see Sonic, but then his smile faltered. Obviously noticing that Sonic was not responding to him. Maybe he's acting, but I don't think so. None of this was making sense. Sonic was not responding at all. He was totally oblivious of Tails' presence. Tails walked slowly towards Sonic. I noticed that I was not even moving my keyboard to make him move. So this had to have been a scene that was cut in. Suddenly I began to have a dreadful, overwhelming feeling come over me. Tails walked closer to Sonic to get his attention. In some way I felt that Tails was in danger. Something bad was going to happen now. I heard faint static growing louder as Tails was inches away from Sonic. Then he stopped, stuck his hand out to touch him. You know that foreboding feeling that you get in your gut when something is going to go horribly wrong? Well, that was growing stronger. I felt the urge to literally tell Tails to get the hell away from Sonic as the static kept growing louder and louder in my ears. In a split second, I saw Sonic's eyes open. Black, empty, soulless eyes. Red, glowing dots started to emerge from the center of his soul, so it appeared. Just like the title image I saw briefly. There was not a smile. But when this happened, the screen turned black. The static sound completely went quiet. It stayed black for 10 seconds and then, wow. This is what happened next. White text appeared, forming a message on the computer screen saying, "Hello, do you want to play with me?" At this point, I freaking creeped out. I didn't want to continue the game. Yet, my curiosity got the better of me when I was taken to a different level, with the level title now saying, "Hide and seek." I can't explain the next few hours of my life, maybe days. It's kind of a blur. This time I was in the Angel Island level from Sonic 3 again, not Sonic 1. Everything seemed to be on gestures to me as if he wanted to get out of this place. He was in as fast as possible. He wanted out quickly now. Okay, I was starting to get freaked out by this. Can you imagine? You're playing a game and the cartoon creature is begging you to get him out of there. Yeah, scared the crap out of me. I don't know. I'm freaking out, man. I'm freaking out. Tails was actually breaking the fourth wall, and if anybody knows anything about the fourth wall, it's when, if you're an actor, you look past into the audience or into the camera and actually talk to the people you are acting for. That's the best way I can describe it. But yeah, this cartoon character broke the fourth wall. He was talking to me, gesturing to me, begging me to get him help, to get him the fuck out of there. Sorry for all the language, but God, I'm scared. I'm scared for my life. I'm scared for my friend Kyle. And in some odd way, I'm scared for the rest of the world. Something is not right. Something has taken over and crossed that fourth wall. I pressed down the arrow key as hard as I could, making him run as fast as he could. A pixelated version of that creepy freaking theme when you meet Shadow at the Ark as Robotnik from SA2 was playing as I made Tails trek through the desolate forest, trying to help him escape from wherever, whatever. God knows what was trying to catch him that he was running from so frantically. All of a sudden, my heart dropped to my stomach. That freaking creepy pixelated laugh again. That awful Kafka laugh. Right after 10 seconds have passed as I helped Tails run through the forest. Then I started seeing flashes of Sonic popping up everywhere on the screen again with those black, empty, soulless eyes with blood emanating from the deepest, darkest part of him out in between the blackness. That's the best way I can describe it. But this time, instead of just having a blank look on his face, he had the most deranged, demonic grin. He looked as though he was enjoying tormenting all these poor characters. He was giving poor little fox as he gained upon him. Suddenly, when Tails tripped, another cut scene, another hack. The music stopped and Sonic vanished. Tails lay there and started crying for a good 15 seconds. I mean, sobbing, hysterically, breaking my heart. The crying was that of a mother who lost their child. It's the best way I can describe it. The scene was so upsetting to watch and hear. Sonic appeared right in front of Tails. Tails looking up in horror. Blood started to come down those blackened eyes of Sonic. A grin slowly grew from his face as he looked down at the horrified fox. I could do nothing but watch. In a split second, Sonic lunged at Tails right before the screen went black. There was a loud screeching noise slow. Want to try again. And then that god-awful laugh. That god-awful laugh came with it. I was so shocked. What had happened? Did Sonic murder Tails? No, he couldn't have. He and Tails are supposed to be friends, best friends like Kyle. Why did Sonic do that to him? I had to shake off this absolute shock. I was brought back to the character select. The save file that had Tails was different. Tails was no longer in the box itself, but in the TV screen, which was flickering with that red static. Tails' expression scared the shit out of me. His eyes were black and bleeding. His orange fur had gone black. An expression of anguish on his face, trying my best to ignore it. I picked Knuckles next. The laugh came again, that horrific laugh again. The screen cut to black. Another 10 seconds. This time the level said, "You can't run." Alright, I'm freaking out now. I can't really tell if this was a glitch or hack or some kind of sick, twisted joke or anything really. But despite my fear of what happened next, I kept playing. The next level looked much different. It had ground of the scrap brain zone, but the sky background looked like the main menu, and it had dark, reddish, cloudy sky. It was the music that creeped me out the most. Sounded like, I don't even know, unearthly. Knuckles looked afraid, just like Tails had. Though much more so. He broke the fourth wall as well. He looked at me as if he wasn't sure about what the hell was going on, and neither did I. I pressed my fingers down on the keyboard and made him run. He ran down the straight pathway in this dark level. As he did, the screen started to flicker red static a couple times, and then that maddening laugh just came again. It was driving me crazy. There was something about it that it ate my brain. It just scraped every nerve throughout my body. After a few seconds of running, I noticed several bloodstains in the metallic ground. A growing sense of fear. Again, thinking something horrible was going to happen to Knuckles. He looked nauseated walking down the blood-stained road, but I kept him going. Knuckles ran and ran, and out of nowhere, Sonic appeared right in front of him. Those black bleeding eyes. The red static appeared again. When the static vanished, showing nothing but the black screen with the text saying, "I found you." I was now scared. Sonic found Knuckles within seconds. What was going on? Red static came again, and then I was back to the level. Knuckles looked like he was panicking, and Sonic was nowhere to be found. But I knew he was lurking somewhere. the silent hill, one final boss was playing through my speakers. Chills ran down my spine. I felt a doom all over me that I'd never felt before. Was this some kind of boss battle with Sonic? Maybe that's it. Maybe that's what all this is about. It's just some weird, messed up way of some hacker putting these two characters together. God, I hope to God, I hope to, if there is a God out there, please. It wasn't, honestly. Out of nowhere, Sonic appeared right behind Knuckles in what appeared to be pixelated black smoke. But it was almost as if the smoke came out of the screen, like I could touch it. I paused for a moment. Then I realized that there was actually a puff of black smoke that was dissipating to the left into my room. What in the hell? How is this even possible? This is more than just somebody hacking a computer game. I didn't know what to do. I made Knuckles turn and punch Sonic. Sonic vanished in black smoke again. Before I could even land a single hit. And that laugh, that terrible laugh again and again. Laughing. Knuckles was panicking. I could feel his panic inside my own soul. I'm growing crazy. Sonic was practically messing with us, and he was enjoying it. He was playing a sick, twisted mind game with me and Knuckles in some bizarre way. He could emit actual smoke when he disappeared and appeared out of my screen. And that was the least of my worries at this point. There was another cut. Scene played as Knuckles fell to his knees and clutched his head, sobbing. The same agony, the same sad cries that I heard earlier that clenched my heart. It was driving us. Sonic was driving us both crazy. But then, in a split second, Sonic lunged at Knuckles in the screen, black, with another distorted screeching noise that lasted for 3 to 5 seconds. Text appeared on the screen, but what it said etched my soul forever. Quote, so many souls to play with and so little time. Wouldn't you agree? What the hell? Just what is going on? I don't know what to think. I started to think Sonic was actually trying to talk to me through the freaking game. I was too scared to think of that. I was too scared to think of that black smoke that I knew was real coming out of my screen and into my room. That's not again to the main menu. This time, the second file box had Knuckles, and the TV screen is red for red, darkened to a reddish gray. His dreadlocks were dripping with blood, and his eyes were black and bleeding too. He had a look of sadness on his face. I started to think that those aren't the actual characters trapped in those TV screens on the save files, but I couldn't believe it. I didn't want to believe it. I shut up the game. I couldn't take any more. I took a nap. But God, I wish I hadn't. The nightmares in my dreams were so disturbing. So pitch black, the darkness was endless, engulfing, like quick sand after it's already covered your head and there's no way out. All I could hear the cries of Knuckles and Tails. They were crying, "Help us. Why did you give us to him?" And lastly, "Run away before he gets you." And the cries died out. I then heard Sonic laugh, that freaking laugh. It sounded like the distorted cry laugh. Sick. You're a lot of fun to play with, kid. Just like your friend Kyle. Though he didn't last long. I took a gulp. I was shaking in terror. Beyond terror, I was petrified. Looking around for the source of the voice because it wasn't coming out of my computer. Won't be long now until you join him and all my other friends. I see him walking towards me, flicking in and out in several directions. You can't run, kid. You're in my world now. Just like the others. When he grabbed me and I saw his bleeding black and red eyes, grinning face, I woke up, sweating in a fright. After a couple of hours, I decided to continue playing the game. I don't even know why I did it. I guess I had to know. I had to understand what the hell was happening. I turned on the computer, turned on this game, and selected Robotnik next. What happened there was something I can't even recall or relate to you. Is too terrifying. All I can tell you is that it didn't end well. Of course, Sonic popped right in front of Robotnik the same way he did Knuckles. And then the red static lasted longer this time, 15 seconds, and it showed me a most disturbing image. It was an image, a hyper-realistic of Sonic is standing in the darkness where you can only see his face while his head and torso faded into black. And when I say hyper-realistic, I mean he looks so real you could actually see the lines in his blue fur, as you could actually feel the fur if you touched the screen. And his face, oh God, his face. He had the most horrific look I'd ever seen. He opened his mouth like the Cheshire Cat. Sonic had fangs, very sharp fangs. Much like a werewolf. Vicious looking, yellowish stains of blood and bits of flesh on his lips. I stared at the gruesome image for a while, never taking my eyes off of him. He was looking right at me. Then the screen flickered with red static again 3 times. On the 3rd time, I heard that freaking laugh again, but this time it was distorted, demonic. It went back to the image again, except this time there was the text again. Though it was messed up, but it was pretty much one of the most horrific things I have ever looked at since I've had this stupid game. In big, bold letters it said, "I am God." Sonic was a monster. Pure, evil, sadistic, all-powerful, nightmare, demented monster. And all his victims were dead. And possibly my best friend, Kyle. All of a sudden I screamed and spit in disgust as Sonic lunged at the screen, screeching loudly with his mouth wide open, his unnatural length revealing nothing but literally spiraling abyss of pure darkness before the red static came again, this time much louder and distorted, so loud I had to cover my ears. Screaming back, grabbing my ear as the red static screeched for a good 10 seconds, and it stopped. Showed nothing but a black screen. I sat there staring at the black screen. One last text came up. Ready for round 2, Tom? Number 3. An expert from a local newspaper. Well, anonymous unknown killer is still at large. Just like many serial killers in this very country that we live in, they are still at large. Weeks of unexplained murder He survived one of the killer's attacks and bravely tells his story of survival. The only one that has survived this horrific murderous attack. Quote, the boy says, I had a bad dream and I woke up in the middle of the night. I saw that for some reason the window to my bedroom was wide open, even though I remember specifically closing it before I crawled into my bed. I got up and shut it in the middle of the night. Afterwards, I simply crawled under my covers and tried to go back to sleep. But that's when I had a strange feeling. That feeling like somebody's was watching me. I look up and nearly jumped out of my bed. There in the ray of light illuminating from between my curtains was a pair of two eyes. These were not regular eyes. They were dark, ominous eyes. Soulless eyes. Eyes I'd never seen before. Do you understand? As the boy looked up at the reporter with the most pitiful look. I sighed. Look, they were bordered in black, and the inside of them, where the color should have been, was even blacker. It terrified me. But that's when I saw his mouth, a long, horrendous smile that made every hair on my body stand up. The figure stood there, watching me. Finally, after what seemed like I felt like forever, he simply said in a sickening voice, a simple phrase, but only in a way a mad man could speak. He said, go back to sleep. I let out a scream, and that's what sent him at me. He pulled up a knife, aimed it at my heart. He jumped on top of my bed. I fought him back. I kicked, I punched, I rolled around, trying to knock him off of me. That's when my dad busted in. The man threw the knife. It went into my dad's shoulder. The man probably would have finished him off if one of the neighbors had not alerted the police. They drove into the parking lot, ran towards the door. The man turned and ran down the hallway. I heard a smash, glass breaking. As I came out of my room, I saw the window that was pointing towards the back of my house was shattered. I looked out to see him vanish into the distance. The cold, dark night as most kids that are only children really do. Oh. I was in the kitchen feeding our dog when I heard what sounded like James talking to someone in the backyard. I'm not sure who it was. Exactly who he was talking to. I'm just not sure, but he was having a full-on conversation. I was thinking to myself, gee, finally, he has made a friend. Being a single mother, it's hard for me to always keep an eye on my son. I decided to go outside and check on him. I was really confused when I walked into the backyard. The only person in the backyard was James. Was it? I could have sworn I heard another voice. James, it's time to come inside, I called out to him. He came inside, sat down at the kitchen table. It was about lunchtime anyway. I decided to make him a turkey sandwich. James, honey, who are you talking to outside in the backyard? James looked up for a moment. I was playing with my new friend, he said, smiling. I poured him some milk and continued to pry, as any good parent would do, I would imagine. Does your friend have a name? Why didn't you ask him in to have lunch with us? I asked inquisitively. James looked up at me for a moment and just stared before replying. His name is Laughing Jack. I was a bit taken back by what he said. Oh, that's an interesting name. What does your friend look like? I asked, a bit bewildered. Oh, he's a clown. He has long hair and a big swirly cone nose. He's got long arms and baggy pants with stripy socks, and he's always smiling. I realized my son was talking about an imaginary friend. I supposed it was very normal for kids his age to have imaginary friends, especially when he has no real friends of his own. But it's probably just a phase. The rest of the time of that day went as usual. Starting to get late, I put James to bed. I tucked him in, gave him a kiss, and made sure to turn on his nightlight before I closed the door. Extremely tired myself, I decided to go to bed. Not long after that, that's when I had this horrific nightmare. It was dark. I was in some kind of run-down, abandoned amusement park. Scared, running through an endless field of empty tents, broken down rides, abandoned game huts. The whole place had an eerie, horrific look to it. So real and scary. Everything was black and white. The prize stuffed animals all hung from nooses in the game huts with a sick grin stitched on their faces. Felt like, I don't know, it felt like the whole park was staring at me from behind the tents, watching me, waiting for me to get me. It was one of those dreams that just was so real. Then suddenly I began to hear music playing. The sound of Pop Goes the Weasel being played on a squeeze box. The box echoed through the park. It was hypnotizing. Some cuts all over their bodies, others were severely burned, and others were missing limbs. Even their eyes were gone. What was this? What kind of dream am I having? What kind of hellish nightmare? The children enveloped me, clawing at my flesh. Their fingernails were daggers, dragging, tearing my skin, pulling me to the ground, ripping me from the inside out. The children tore me apart, and with each piece of flesh, they consumed me like I was their dinner. I faded away, and all I could hear was laughter, horrible, evil, malevolent laughter of these children. Waking up in a cold sweat and shaking, touching my arms and legs, my stomach, to make sure I was still in one piece. I took a few deep breaths. I looked over and I saw that a few of James' action figures were positioned facing me on top of my nightstand. Oh my God, James had probably woken up early and put these here, even though he had never done that in the past. I gathered up the toys and made my way to James's room. However, when I opened the door, he was sound asleep. I don't know why, but I just shrugged it off, placed the toys back into his toy box, headed out to the living room. A little while had passed. James wakes up. I make him breakfast. He was quiet and a bit groggy. Perhaps he did not sleep well either. I asked him about the toys. I'm not sure why, but I did. I said, James, honey, did you put your toys in Mommy's room this morning? His eyes shot up at me for a moment, then quickly glanced back down at his cereal. Laughing Jack did it. I rolled my eyes in response. Well, you tell Laughing Jack to keep his toys in your room. Sadly, and with almost a shameful feeling, he nodded, staring down at his breakfast. I felt terrible. But then he decided to go outside and play in the backyard. I wanted to forget last night's events, yesterday's events. This whole thing was crazy and unrealistic and fathomable. Relaxing in the living room, I dozed off. I woke up a couple hours later. Shit, where's James? I was worried. It had been over 2 hours. I have not checked on him. I stepped out into the backyard, but James was not there anymore. I was getting nervous, so I called out to him, James. This is impossible. I made him spit out the candy and I threw the rest away. He appeared to be okay. Maybe I'm just overreacting after all. He could have gotten it from Tom and Linda from next door, or Mr. Walker down the street. Either way, I'm going to have to keep a closer eye on my son. That night, when I put James to bed, it was bedtime as usual, and I decided to go to bed early myself. I was awoke by a loud bang coming from the kitchen. Springing out of bed, hurrying down the stairs, I got to the kitchen. I was horrified. Everything on the counters had been thrown on the floor, and our dog Fido hung dead from the light fixture, his stomach slashed open and stuffed with candy, the same type that James was eating earlier that day. In shock, I just stared at what I was looking at until it was broken by a sharp scream coming from James's room, followed by loud crashes. I quickly grabbed a knife from the drawer and moved to the stairs with the speed that only a mother whose child is in danger could have. I burst through the door and flicked on the light. Everything in the room was knocked over and tossed onto the floor. My poor son in his bed crying, shaking in fear, a pool of urine staining the sheets. I scooped up my child and ran out of the house and went next door to Tom and Linda's house. Luckily, they were still awake. They let me use their phone. I called the police. It did not take them long to arrive, and I explained what had happened. They looked at me as if I were absolutely insane. The police searched the house, but all they found was the dead dog and 2 trashed rooms. Yeah, the officer told me that someone had probably gotten into the house and done this right before, making a quick escape when they heard me coming up the stairs. But I knew it was not true. All the doors were locked. None of the windows were open. Whatever was in my house did not come from outside. But they didn't understand that. They wouldn't listen to me, a single parent. The next day, I kept James inside. I didn't want him to leave my sight. I went into the garage and found his old baby monitor and set up in his room. If anything comes into his room tonight, I was going to be able to hear it. I went to the kitchen and grabbed the largest knife from the drawer and put it on my nightstand. Imaginary friend or not, I'm not letting anything hurt my little boy. Soon enough, darkness shed the land, and it was time for James to go to bed. He was terrified. I promised him that I was not going to let anything happen to him. I tucked him in, gave him kisses, and turned on the nightlight. Before closing the door, I whispered to him, "Good night, James. I love you." I tried my best to stay up as long as I could, but I could only keep my eyes open for a few hours. I was drifting off. My baby would be safe for the night, and I needed sleep. Just as I lay my head on the pillow, I heard a soft noise coming from the baby monitor I had put on my nightstand. At first, it sounded like interference, but the kind a radio would make. Then it turned into a soft moan. Was James asleep? Was he having a dream? Then I heard it, the laugh from my nightmare, that horrible, horrific laugh. I sprung up from the bed and grabbed the knife from under my pillow. I rushed over to James's room, creaked the door open. I tried the light switch, but it would not come on. I took a step in and could feel the warm, thick liquid on my feet. Suddenly, James's nightlight came on, and I could see the absolute horror laid out in front of me. James's body was nailed up on the wall, the nails piercing through his hands and feet. His chest was cut wide open, and his organs hung down to the floor. His eyes and tongue had been removed, along with most of his teeth. I had never felt so much sadness and pain in my life. I could not say story about Kelly Tristan, a 23-year-old woman who lived alone in a small home located at 2605 Pine Road in the small town of Eugene, Oregon. Her disappearance had gone largely unnoticed until nearby residents started to go missing without a trace. When the police went to investigate the area, all the homes of the missing people were completely empty, as if no one had ever lived in them for quite a while. So here is what happened. October 31st, 2004 was a Sunday, Halloween, Kelly's favorite time of the year. She thought it would be a good idea to decorate her front door. You know, some cheap dollar store creepy decorations. To let the kids know she was handing out candy. Well, 12:35 p.m. she drove to the local dollar store to buy Halloween candy and decorations. Browsing, she found a full shelf of old VHS tapes. As she looked through them, her eyes fell upon an old copy of Disney's 1951 classics, Alice in Wonderland. Wow, I haven't seen this movie in a long time, she said to herself excitedly. Kelly decided to purchase it along with her candy and decorations. When she came back home, it was still too early for trick-or-treaters to be out, so she took some time to prepare for trick-or-treaters and get her front door ready. Continuing on decorating and built a large pumpkin-shaped bowl of candy. By the time she was finished, it was nearly 4 p.m. It would be dark fairly soon. She checked if there were any more decorations to put up, but there wasn't. But when she looked inside the paper bag, what looked back up at her was the VHS tape Alice in Wonderland. Well, sitting all by itself, begging her to watch it. Oh my gosh, I must have forgot this. Maybe I could watch it before the trick-or-treaters arrived. Brilliant idea, right? Kelly had a VCR DVD player in her living room, so she opened up the box to watch the movie. But something was odd and strange about the tape. The movie's logo was on the front, but it was. Somebody had scratched it off with a knife. Kelly dismissed this and figured it must have been a used copy and some baby had just scratched at it. You know, young kids can be destructive when they're really little. Not knowing what they're doing is not right. But it still felt strange. She couldn't put her finger on it. Anyway, but everything was shrouded in darkness. She had turned off the lights, turned the television on, closed her curtains, and put the tape into the VCR. Oh, she was excited. Perfect for watching a movie, she thought to herself, like a little kid. But as the opening title cards were playing, Kelly laid herself down on the couch and was excited. One of her favorite movies from her childhood. The movie started off normal, with nothing almost out of the ordinary, except for how it would flicker in certain odd parts. She chalked that up to just being an old VHS tape. The picture was a little faded. It was tolerable for a used copy. 10 minutes the movie played perfectly fine in her eyes. When it got to the scene showing Alice inside the bottle, she drank from. Strips of static started appearing on the screen. Oh, for God's sake, what is going on? Kelly started getting frustrated. Please don't crap out on me yet. Come on. Kelly was upset but decided not to fast forward the tape. She was curious to see what the previous owner could possibly have recorded over her favorite movie as a child. The picture quality was not very good. The footage came from approximately the 70s. It was a home movie camera. A small group of children gathered around on a table with a little girl sitting at the end of it. She had a long, beautiful auburn hair, and she wore tears rolling down her face and looked as if she had been beaten. Bruises covered her arms and face. "Mommy, what are you doing? What are you doing?" At this time, the girl looked very worried, dreading what her mother was about to do. In a few moments, her mother walked towards her, her head cut off by the edge of the screen. In her mother's hand was a small knife. Kelly's heart was pounding in her chest. She couldn't take her eyes off the screen. The girl's mother took the knife in one hand, grabbed the girl's cheeks, and forced her to stick out her tongue. "I'm going to scrape those lies off your tongue with this knife." She placed the sharp edge of the knife into the girl's mouth and quickly scraped it across her tongue. Screaming in agony, the girl just started to gush blood running down her face. All Kelly could see was just blood falling from her tongue. And then her mother sliced her tongue off and it fell to the floor. Kelly became nauseous. She got up, ran to the kitchen, and vomited. What mother would do this to a child? Kelly washed out her mouth. The video went to piercing static, making her scream. Slowly crept back to the couch, keeping her eyes glued on the screen. The movie came back to Alice walking away from the tea party, disgruntled, with a Mad Hatter and March hair. However bad the video segments were, Kelly felt she had to find out who was filming these terrible things happening to this little girl and why she was drawn to it and why it ended up in the dollar store. How in the world did that happen? The movie got to the scene with Alice getting lost in the tingly woods. Again, the screen filled with static. Only lasted a few seconds before cutting to a video of the girl sitting on the front edge of the bed, crying into her hands, blood pouring from her mouth. The room she was in was so dark. Everything behind her was cast in a shadow. 3 minutes went by. She just sat there crying. Not once did this little girl look up. Every few seconds she would stop and say, "Nobody loves me." After a while, the door opened off camera, letting a dim light enter the room. Slowly, a shadowed figure entered the room and floated towards the girl. She looked at the figure and her eyes shot wide open. She began to plead. "No, please, please." Her eyes were abruptly severed by the deafening static. Kelly screamed out loud and covered her own eyes. The static died down. She gained the courage to open her eyes. The movie came back on with Alice going into the Queen of the Heart's courtyard. All the bright colors and silly moments of the film could not stir Kelly out of her deep-seated fear. Kelly began to gain hope that the hellish video segments were over and she could watch the rest of the movie in peace. But as the trial scene approached, the picture gradually faded to static. Kelly's heart dropped and she started sobbing. This time the static lasted 2 minutes. Her heart raced in the anticipation of the upcoming video. When the static disappeared, there was nothing. The living room was filled with deafening silence. Kelly became short of breath and started hyperventilating. For several seconds, there was complete silence. Kelly thought the video stopped itself, but the tracker on the video, or the VCRs at the tape, was still playing. A short while, Kelly could hear something. It sounded like children whispering. Whispering children. She could not make out what they were saying. Kelly panicked when she noticed a dark figure slowly developing on the screen. The only thing on the screen was a still image. It was a photo of the little girl sitting on the edge of the bed again, secluded in darkness. This time, she was not crying. She was staring straight at Kelly through the screen. Her eyes were bloodshot from people's bedroom seemed to be coming from the glow of Kelly's television. The image was so clear that they could have easily been sitting in the same room. Kelly could hear the little girl crying again, however, still glaring at her through the screen, not moving an inch. Kelly looked past the girl's shoulder. She made out what appeared to be a faint set of crooked teeth fixed in a smile. The teeth appeared to be human, but were elongated and stretched out too wide to be from an actual person's mouth. Voices joined like a maddening chorus, voices of all kinds. She could hear whispering, "Off, off with her head." Over the next minute, the little girl's crying and the voices grew louder and more hysterical. Suddenly, everything fell silent. Her heart pounded as she uncovered her ears. One final deep voice said menacingly, "Off with her head." Static flashed over the image for a fraction of a second. The picture began to move. The little girl's head slowly fell forward as if she was going to cry again. It drooped lower and lower until it rolled right off her shoulders and onto the floor. The instant her head fell off her, blood curdling scream filled the room as Kelly covered her ears in terror. She screamed as loud as she could until the video cut to static one last time. The ending credits of the movie started rolling. Kelly could not speak, traumatized as she stared at the blank screen. It was 5:15 p.m. She got up. She kept her eyes on the screen to make sure nothing else was going to show up on it. Her concentration was broken by the sound of her doorbell ringing. She screamed and shot her head around to see her front door. Damn it, just breathe. Kelly, just breathe. It's just trick-or-treaters. It's an early one, that's all. Before opening the door, something told her to look through the people first. She froze in horror when she did. Her doorstep was a little girl with her head down. She was wearing an Alice dress. You're just freaked out. It's only a kid in an Alice costume. She grabbed the candy bowl and opened the front door. When she got ready to hand out the candy, she dropped the candy bowl in horror. The girl had vanished. Trembling, shaking, she dropped the candy and dropped the candy and dropped the candy as she tried to pick it up and put it back in the bowl, but all of the images kept flashing into her mind. Finally, she got all of the candy back into the bowl and slammed the door behind her. She scolded herself. You have to relax. You're just seeing things. But when she put the bowl back down on the kitchen table, the television got too loud and static. Screaming, Kelly turned towards the living room, tears rolling down her face. Written on the wall above the television in blood were the words, "Off with your head." Kelly frantically tried to get out the front door, but the door was locked. Suddenly she could hear something clawing at the door violently like a bear. She looked through the people again. She saw nothing but blackness. The lights in the front of her house were out. She was submerged in total darkness. She could see nothing except at the end of the narrow hallway there was something near her bedroom door. A faint set of gnarled teeth fixed in a smile. Paralyzed in fear. Who's there? The last thing Kelly remembered as the stench of rotting flesh on its breath waved into You got to see this. Abby ran to her bag of Halloween candy and pulled out a copy of Disney Alice in Wonderland on VHS. Her mother, taken aback, said, "Where did you get that?" "One of the houses I went to had a candy bowl. The bowl was empty, but the movie was in it." She could barely control her excitement. "Can we watch it tonight? Pretty please." Story number 6. If you don't want to know the truth, turn back now. If you continue to read this sad tale, you can't say I did not warn you. So well, I bet you think that circuses are all fun and games, don't you? I bet you think all the circus freaks are people like you and me who are having as much fun performing as you are watching. I bet you think those freaks have always been like that, deformed and different. You think that clown with two heads was born like that. You think the singer with the goat legs got the animal parts because she was born without actual legs. You think the normal looking guy with the hair of the midnight sky is just another performer who ran away from home. Is that what you think? But you don't care. You don't even think about it. You don't give a second thought of what the freaks are actually like or what they have to do, what the freaks did to make them join the circus. I bet anything that you do not know the pain and suffering they go through each and every performance. You have never heard their screams and cries in the night. You have never heard them begging to die. You have never smelled the stench of rotting flesh. You don't know anything. Not a single thing. But that's what I'm going to tell you. If you don't want to know the truth, or you're not strong enough to know, then don't listen. Turn back. Let's start with how those quote-unquote freaks joined the circus. But joined isn't exactly the proper term, now is it? Not when every single freak was perfectly human and got kidnapped as a kid who wanted to see the circus themselves. That's right. Kidnapped, stolen off the streets against their unheard screams, cries, and pleas for helps. They're kicking, they're hitting, doing everything they possibly could to get away, only to end up failing hopelessly and becoming guinea pigs. Before the circus, there were foster children with the dark blue hair that had finally found a home with a mother who loved him. Sure, he may have been poor. Sure, he may have had a long imagine? Isn't that the image you had in your head when you're at the circus? I didn't think so. And do you know why that little boy was chosen to be experimented on? Well, he was a poor little boy who had almost died on the streets. Had he been chosen? Why? It was because he was a child who had yet to fill his life with good memories rather than thoughts of meat, blood, and more meat, more meat, more meat. Now you have a taste of what I'm explaining, and now you know at least a small portion of the horrors that go on behind the scenes. So I'll ask you again, would you like to turn back? Because I'm about to continue. There once was a little singer with the hair of a pale turquoise. With hair of pale turquoise, that girl came from a loving family with a mother, father, 2 little brothers whom she always played with. The girl's family was considered rich among many, and perhaps it was the girl's extravagant clothing made of the finest materials that attracted the ringmaster, or perhaps the master heard her singing a joyful tune while going into the tent. Maybe it was her hair that felt like silk, or her face, which was picture perfect. No, none of that was it. Not even close. Not even close. It was simple, because she had not grown up. She had not had memories instilled in her mind. Do you know what they did to that girl? Do you have any idea? I'll tell you what. They detached her legs, and none too gently, I promise you that. The girl who was once known as a child with the gorgeous face, with the voice to match, became the girl with the legs that belonged to a goat. Do you have any idea how hard it is to live in such a deformed state with legs that are not even human? Because I know I cannot even dream of how difficult that would be. Just trying to imagine the suffering and horror that was brought to the diva who cried herself to sleep every single night makes me hurt inside and want to cry as well. The pain would be so unbearable. I'm surprised you've made it this far. You must have a heart that is strong, but I'll tell you again, you can turn back. The clown with 2 heads. Before becoming a circus freak, do you know what it was? Do you? Of course you don't. No one does. Not a single soul until now. That freak was 2 little kids, a set of twins, a boy and a girl, who were inseparable since birth. Best friends, always together. Did you know that they had a mom and a dad? Those kids had a family, they had friends, they had an amazing future ahead of them, but all of that was destroyed, crushed, ruined into pieces. All because they went to that circus. All because they didn't walk away fast enough, because they were just children. And do you know what happened after their screams were muffled and they were chained, strapped to a metal table, got butchered alive, got limbs chopped off while they were conscious, and then they truly became inseparable. They would always be together until the moment they died, because the 2 children became one, sewn together, lumps of flesh strewn around them. The whole process and the stench of blood and death lingered in their nostrils for so long. After so long, the pus and the blood and the healing, just because they were cheerful children. But that isn't all. That isn't even close to the end. There are so many more tortured souls. Children who have died during the so I won't bother warning you again. Do you know what happened if they made the smallest mistake, if they refused to do something for the show, or even make it if they took a step with the wrong foot? Oh no, you have not a clue. But see, that's because the ringmaster punished them. He punished them away from straying eyes that may catch the sinful acts. What is that punishment, you may ask? Acid, yes, you read it right, acid. Take the smallest misstep while under the ringmaster's power, and you would have that burning acid poured on your bare body, every last drop. You think that's bad? It gets worse. Not by much, but it does get worse. I know it's hard to believe. As if the mutilation wasn't bad enough, and the acid, that's more than anyone should ever have to deal with. Any human or animal or otherwise, but mix the two and you get a worse fate of all. You rot. That's right, you rot from the inside out. Yes, mix mutilation and acid, and voila, you're a living, breathing being, yet you're dying every day. You're closer to death, being eaten inside out. I can't even begin to explain the horror, pain, and agony of what it feels like to have your body decaying and being conscious during every single second of that, and on top of that, having to perform for all of the people that come and pay. So that's why all of those freaks want to die, even though they're dying anyways. It's slow, painful, and unbearable. They want to die a fast death, even if it took a whole hour or 3. That pain would be so much easier to endure than the hell they went through. But they don't try to kill themselves. No, not ever. As much as they want their suffering to end, they keep going. Why? Because the circus is so much fun. That's why so much